The night everything broke. March 4th, 2022. Utah. A quiet town with quiet people. A place where nothing ever happens until the night something finally did. On the outskirts sits a large home glowing with expensive accent lighting. Inside that house, behind locked doors and picture-perfect family photos, something had been wrong for a long time. Most people just didn't know it yet. Joseph and Kyla Sharp, a couple who looked stable, normal, the kind of people neighbors waved to without thinking twice. But tonight, their perfect image would shatter. Joseph was a pilot, confident, calm, a man who liked control. Kyla was the opposite, warm, anxious, desperately trying to keep their marriage alive even as Joseph pulled further away. Secretly, she feared it was already over. Secretly, Joseph agreed, but they kept the truth tucked away behind closed doors. Until the night Joseph took something too far, and the story that followed would haunt the entire town. At 10:44 p.m., the calm Utah weekend cracked open. Dispatch received a panicked call. A man's voice, shaky, uneven, breathing like he'd just run a mile. "My wife. She's not breathing. She drank too much. I think she fell." That voice was Joseph's. He said she fell while drunk. He said he tried CPR. He said she wasn't responding. His tone didn't match his words. But dispatch still sent officers racing across the quiet streets of Camas toward the glowing house at the edge of the neighborhood. The front door swung open before they knocked. Joseph stood there, eyes red, pacing, hands shaking. "Where is she?" the officer asked. "Downstairs. I tried everything." He led them into the basement, a movie theater room, large screen, plush seating, carpeted floors soaked in dim, eerie glow. And on the ground, lying face down on that soft carpet, was Kyla. She was wearing pajamas. Her hair was damp. A faint smell of alcohol drifted around her. But something was wrong, very wrong. People in a drunken fall don't land like that. The officer checked for a pulse. Nothing. He rolled her gently to her back. Her neck was cold, stiff. She had been gone a while. And the bruises, those couldn't be explained by a simple fall. Joseph repeated the same story over and over. "We were watching a movie. She had too much to drink. She got upset. She fell, hit her head. I tried to help." His voice wavered, but not in the way police were used to. He didn't cry. He didn't crumble. He answered questions too quickly, too cleanly, as if rehearsing. Minutes later, he added more details. They had argued. She'd run downstairs. He heard a crash. He went down and found her like this. But officers noticed things. The room wasn't messy. Nothing was knocked over. There were no signs of a struggle. Yet the bruising didn't match a single fall. And then, they noticed something else. Joseph's forearms. Large scratches. Fresh. Red. He said she did it in panic while he tried to revive her. But the placement, the depth, the direction, they didn't match a dying woman's last struggle. They matched a desperate one. Took hours before they moved Kyla's body. As paramedics zipped the bag, one officer stepped aside, looking pale. Something didn't sit right. He whispered quietly, "Her jaw. It's fractured." A fall from standing height doesn't fracture a jaw like that. Another whisper, "And look at her neck. Faint bruising, consistent with pressure." By the time her body reached the examiner, suspicion had already replaced sympathy. This wasn't a drunk fall. This was something else. Police canvassed the neighborhood. One neighbor said she'd heard yelling earlier. Another mentioned seeing Joseph leave abruptly that afternoon. A third swore he heard a thud around 9 p.m., not 10:44, when Joseph claimed she fell. Then they found out something chilling. The couple's marriage had been falling apart for months. Joseph had recently told someone he was done. He talked about leaving, about starting over. And just days before this night, he had emptied one of their joint accounts. Kyla didn't know yet, but someone else did. And that someone came forward. A coworker, a friend, confidant. They said Joseph had been planning to end things with Kyla, but no one knew he meant this. Police replayed Joseph's 911 call timeline. Everything hinged on when she died. But the autopsy suggested something brutal. Kyla had likely been dead hours before Joseph ever picked up the phone. Meaning, he waited. He waited before calling for help. Waited before pretending to panic. Waited before staging the scene. But why? Officers dug deeper. They examined Joseph's phone. Then they found the messages. 2 hours before the 911 call, Joseph texted someone. A woman. Not Kyla. Not a relative. Someone he shouldn't have been texting. And the message was simple. Cold. Calculated. It's happening tonight. That's when investigators stopped treating Joseph like a grieving husband and started treating him like a suspect. When detectives brought Joseph in, he didn't ask how Kyla died. He didn't ask if there was any chance she survived. His first question was, "Do I need a lawyer?" The room went still. In cases like this, silence can be confession. Detectives pushed, asking him to walk through every moment again. He couldn't. His story changed, then changed again, then contradicted itself. He blamed the alcohol, blamed the stairs, blamed the darkness. He blamed everything except himself. For hours, he held onto his story, until officers pulled out one final piece of evidence, a piece they hadn't mentioned before. The home security device had a motion sensor hidden in the basement ceiling. It recorded sound, not video, just sound. But that was enough. And at exactly 9:12 p.m., the motion sensor detected a thud, a scream, a struggle, not an accident, a fight. Joseph's face turned gray as detectives pressed play. The audio was muffled, but unmistakable. A woman gasping, something heavy hitting the floor, a choked cry, then silence, long silence. For more than 1 hour, nothing moved. Only then, much later, did Joseph's frantic footsteps appear. And then the call. Joseph didn't confess in words. He confessed in silence. In the way he slumped. In the way he closed his eyes. In the way the truth weighed on him like a boulder. When he finally spoke, his voice cracked. It got out of hand. But out of hand doesn't explain. The fractured jaw, the bruised neck, the scratches, the hour-long delay, the text message, the motion sensor audio. This wasn't an accident. This wasn't a fall. This was murder. Neighbors gathered behind yellow tape as Joseph was handcuffed and led out of the glowing house. The house looked the same. The lights still beautiful. The streets still quiet. But inside the community, something had changed forever. People whispered. People wondered. How could a couple who looked so normal hide something so dark? How many marriages look perfect until the truth spills out? How many people pretend everything is fine until it isn't? Inside the patrol car, Joseph stared ahead, blank, expressionless. The same control he always had, gone. And in the basement of that house, a motion sensor blinked silently, the last witness to a night no one in commas would forget.